Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Smackdown Rebound right here on OneWrestling.com. Of course, One Wrestling Video's YouTube channel. And we're here to cover, of course, everything from Smackdown this past Tuesday night. Of course, we're talking October the 3rd, 2017, the final go-home show for Hell in the Cell. I want to thank you guys for tuning back into the channel here and, of course, checking out OneWrestling.com for all your 24/7 wrestling news and needs. We got a lot of things to cover, a lot of things heading into that Hell in the Cell pay-per-view just right around the corner this coming Sunday. The last-minute build, the last-minute hype. What matches and what moments are you looking forward to in Hell in a Cell? Make sure you leave us your thoughts down in the comment section below, or make sure you follow myself and the entire OneWrestling.com family on social media. Of course, myself at OKAYFABE, at Big Ratio, at Big Slam Nation. Of course, the legendary, the iconic Mr. Bill Apter at One Wrestling. And of course, at One Wrestling's Twitter handle. Make sure you let us know what you guys thought of SmackDown this week and what you guys think is going to happen this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. Now, with this week's SmackDown, we actually kick things off with Shinsuke and Nakamura being welcomed to the ring by Renee Young for an interview segment. Shinsuke thinks for a moment before responding, saying that sticks and stones may break his bones, but the words will never hurt him. He says the greatest fear of all is the fear of the unknown, but Jinder will know when he beats him and becomes WWE Champion. This, of course, brings out the Singh brothers, who wish and welcome Jinder Mahal as they typically do. However, Jinder sneaking up from behind, attacking Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring. Nakamura is actually able to hold his own until the Singh brothers unfortunately help with the numbers game advantage, just like Jinder Mahal has for the last couple of weeks. As they continue to pounce on him, holding Shinsuke Nakamura down, this allows him to eventually get some leverage and hit the Kalas, of course, to pin or I shouldn't say pin, but to stand over, celebrating over the fallen Shinsuke Nakamura. There's going to be an interesting rivalry between these two, as a lot of it's been off of name calling between Jinder Mahal and Shinsuke Nakamura. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things play out this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. My money is still on the modern day Maharaja stepping out as champion, but what do you guys think? Women up in action next as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair take on Carmella and Natalya in a very solid matchup for the women's division. Natalya and Carmella surprisingly getting the victory here via submission with a sharpshooter from Natalya on Charlotte. Now, normally you don't see this. I would think that maybe Becky Lynch would have taken the submission loss here for the team, considering that, of course, Charlotte versus Natalya for the women's championship is happening at Hell in a Cell. And I'm actually looking forward to this matchup. This matchup could be a lot of fun. Obviously, there's a lot of history between both women. Charlotte and Natalya have faced each other numerous times, both in NXT and the main roster. So the rivalry, I think, goes without saying, but also the factor of Carmella. Remember, she still holds that Money in the Bank briefcase, and they kind of made a little bit more mention to it than they normally have this week on SmackDown. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out in the future for sure. The Glorious One, Bobby Roode, taking on Mike Kanellis in a very quick matchup. Mike, unfortunately, not getting a whole lot of offense in, as Bobby Roode's able to get a quick victory via the Glorious DDT. But not too far afterwards, Dolph Ziggler comes out to congratulate Bobby and tells him he's a big fan of the whole Roode production. He's been working on an entrance and demos it with sirens ringing, then comes out with a bass drum, and then, of course, starts using like noisemakers, and then finally grabbing an air horn and asks if everyone's excited and likes him now before taking, of course, a spot on the turnbuckles. Ziggler then says Roode thinks his entrance is everything, and well, congratulations. After all these years, he finally weaseled his way into WWE through the back door. But on Sunday at Hell in a Cell, he's going to show the world an entrance that they've never seen before. So bring all the smoke and mirrors, but I'm going to show you exactly what you are, Bobby Roode, and that's nothing more but an entrance. And that's all you'll ever be. Of course, Roode stops Dolph as he tries to leave, saying, well, if you wanted to ask me about your entrance, and I think that's okay, but this one's better. Of course, doing the glorious taunt, and of course, showcasing his entrance, to which Ziggler's none too happy. You could say that was a little rude of him. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a really bad pun. I apologize. Anyway, up next, the Usos come out talking about their matchup at Hell in a Cell against the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's going to be a very interesting one, as they did mention it will not be a 3-on-2 handicap situation, as one of the members of the New Days must stay outside. They talk about the Uso Penitentiary and said, Jimmy says, inside the Uso Penitentiary, there ain't no bootios or any other butt-related New Day love stuff, and they're not going to throw them. They're going to throw them in the cell with every other tag team and put them on lock. They're the ones that put in the work. They have been the ones down since day one, and they elevated the tag team division to a whole new level. And come Sunday, they'll be the 5-time WWE Tag Team Champions. Of course, New Day comes out as a rebuttal, saying ordinarily they come out, crack some jokes, sell some products, but not this time, because Sunday is Hell in a in a Cell, and they want to talk about here, and Usos want to come out and talk about all the rights that they want to they want to read to the New Day. So instead of rights, they're going to talk about lefts, like how they've left everyone in awe because they had no idea how the SmackDown Tag Team Division could be this good, and how every time they've gone toe-to-toe, they've left everyone in awe what they do. And whether or not they're on the kickoff or the main show, they left everyone knowing that they had the best damn match of the night. They left battered, they've left bruised, but more importantly, the last time they met, they left with the titles. This Sunday at Hell in a Cell, the Usos are going to be left in a pile of their own day one-ish, and New Day will remain your SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Great promo work from both teams. Both teams have put on probably some of the best matches that of either one's career. Every time you put the Usos and the New Day together, it's just money. I love every single time these two teams go at it. So I'm very looking forward to seeing exactly how they're going to up their game, what sort of craziness and chaos can ensue. And in my opinion, this is going to be the matchup of the night. This is going to be the match to top at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell, for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. We did find out that we're going to see the return of the Fashion Files at Hell in a Cell. We're also going to see a kickoff match at Hell in a Cell between Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin against the Hype Bros team of Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. Considering what we saw last time from the Hype Bros, it's going to be interesting to see how exactly if they're able to pull up a victory, and more importantly, if they lose, how they're going to handle that one. Speaking of losses, Baron Corbin in a surprising loss to Ty Dillinger as he dominated most of the matchup, but Ty able to get a quick win via a small package to a very upset Baron Corbin. Of course, it doesn't take long for AJ Styles to get on the screen and says, "Nothing makes me happier than seeing you, Corbin, squander opportunities like that." I mean, what do you think? The U.S. title is just going to be handed to you at the pay-per-view? This is the house that AJ Styles built, and I got to be that way because AJ pushed himself every day and maybe if Corbin pushed himself like that, could have beaten John Cena at SummerSlam. You could have, successfully cashed in the Money in the Bank, or even just beat Ty Dillinger. He goes, but taking responsibility isn't what Corbin does. He just throws tantrums. His tantrums are getting in AJ's way, and on Sunday, he's going to teach him that taking shortcuts won't work with him because his opportunities will get cut short. Really looking forward to that, but for some reason, that specific promo from AJ Styles really makes me think that possibly Baron Corbin might walk out the victor on Sunday with the U.S. Championship. Speaking of U.S., or I should say international incidents, we have Aiden English out in the ring with Rusev, who's about to have a rematch with Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell, but Aiden English has the one to take on the Viper once again this week. Very funny as they recap what happened on Rusev Day last week, and says that last week was supposed to be a happy Rusev Day, but Orton ruined it, but that's okay because there'll be many more happy Rusev Days to come, like on Sunday at Hell in a Cell when he breaks the Viper. That will be a happy Rusev Day. I feel like we're reading a Dr. Seuss book in some regards. But anyway, as Aiden English starts to actually get ready for his matchup, Rusev actually interferes for a brief moment, allowing Aiden to get a few shots in. But of course, Randy does a little bit back and forth, blocking an RKO by Aiden English. But it doesn't last as, of course, Orton's able to come right back at it and hit a second and then successfully hits the RKO to get the pinfall victory. Rusev looks like he's going to slide in and take on Randy Orton, but there's just this weird tension, and Rusev decides, I'm going to wait for the pay-per-view this Sunday. So once again, we're going to see these two go at it at Hell in a Cell. I hope it's longer than 9 seconds. That's all I'm going to say about that. Finally, the main segment we saw, it was going to be a face-to-face between Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens, which ended up a lot more chaotic than you'd think. As Shane was making his way out to the ring prior to the commercial break, we saw Sami Zayn kind of trying to warn Kevin Owens and say, listen, you got to be careful what Kevin can do. You saw what he did to Vince. He likes and respects Vince, and he was the best man at my wedding, and you saw what he did to me. I'm just saying, you can only imagine what he's going to do to someone he doesn't like and doesn't respect. So, of course, Shane comes out to the ring and, of course, calls out Kevin Owens and says, you've disrespected my children, beat my father down, and hid behind Sami Zayn. But on Sunday, you can't run because it's locked inside Hell in a Cell. And also, changing the rules a little bit because it's going to be a Falls Count Anywhere Hell in the Cell matchup. That means he can, of course, be pinned outside the ring. And, of course, he's going to beat him beyond recognition, at which point Kevin Owens shows his face entering through the crowd and singing Shane's terrible theme song. Shane demands him come to the ring and honor the acceptance of face-to-face, but Owens says he aims to please, but says, actually, I've spent too much time in Denver, Colorado, and proceeds to leave up through the crowd. Shane says, figures is exactly what I was unfortunately expecting, that Kevin Owens is a coward, so if he's not going to come here for the fight, I'm going to bring the fight to him. Shane then proceeds to make his way up through the crowd to confront Kevin Owens, but of course, Kevin Owens attacks him from blindsiding him. Attacking, they brawl for a little bit throughout the concession stand, but of course, it ends temporarily with Kevin Owens powerbombing Shane McMahon through the WWE shop merchandise table. Still say that's going to be a fantastic commercial spot if they decide to use that. But as Kevin Owens actually makes his way back down through the crowd and back into the ring, he continues a promo saying, he goes, you want to make this false count anywhere? fine, because if you think what I just did to Shane was a rough night, wait till you see what I do to him inside Hell in the Cell. Sunday, I'm going to grab McMahon's face into the fence, peel off his flesh, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I'm going to drag his carpets on top of the cell. Don't worry about jumping off the cell, because on Sunday, I'm going to throw him off, and there's no getting back up this time. And then Shane somehow limping and dragging his way back down the steps when Kevin Owens meets him, throwing punches. But McMahon is able to chuck him over the barricade and climb on top of it and hits a diving lariat. Owens continues with some forearms, throws Shane over the announce table and climbs back in the ring as Shane slowly pulls himself back up. As he rolls into the ring, of course, Kevin Owens just keeps pounding on him over and over and over. Referees are begging him to stop. And of course, Owens then lays him out again with the same headbutt he laid out Vince McMahon. Shane still staggers to his feet, but unfortunately, a pump-up powerbomb a second time around finally leaves Shane laying out flat. As Kevin Owens leaves and goes to leave, Shane points his finger, wakes up and points his finger directly at Kevin Owens to close out the show. Needless to say, I'm really looking forward to Hell in a Cell. I think that they're getting a lot of recap and somewhat rematches from SummerSlam, some of which I think are merited. For the most part, I'm looking forward to a lot of the undercard matches. I am looking forward to Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon inside Hell in a Cell, but I definitely think Usos and New Day are going to be the match to beat, in my opinion. I think Charlotte and Natalya is going to surprise a lot of people, like I said before, with the women's division. We've seen these two women fight before, and every time it's been gold. You pretty much can assume they're going to be doing the exact same thing again. So a lot of interesting build heading into Hell in a Cell. I think some of it was a little bit rushed, but then again, with a 2-hour programming time frame, you kind of have to work within your limitations in that regards. But that being said, I still enjoyed SmackDown this week. But of course, guys, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let us know your thoughts of this week's SmackDown Live again down in the comment section, or make sure you follow us on the entire OneWrestling.com family on social media. Myself at OKAYFABE, at Big Ratio, at Big Slam Nation, at After One Wrestling for the legendary, the iconic Mr. Bill Apter, and of course at One Wrestling over on the Twitter. And let us know what you guys thought of SmackDown and who do you think is going to walk out Hell in a Cell as victorious. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Appreciate the continued love and support. And to quote the legendary, the iconic Mr. Bill Apter, we will see you at the matches.